Once upon a time, in a quaint little town nestled between rolling hills and lush forests, there lived a group of teenagers who thrived on adventure and mischief. They were known for their boundless energy and their knack for finding trouble. Every weekend, they would gather at the park, their laughter echoing through the trees as they devised new ways to entertain themselves. One sunny afternoon, while the teenagers were engaged in their usual antics, they spotted an elderly man walking slowly along the path. He was hunched over, gripping an old cane, and his clothes were worn and faded. Despite his frail appearance, there was a spark in his eyes that hinted at a life well lived. The teenagers, however, saw only an opportunity for amusement. As the old man passed by, they began to mimic his slow, deliberate movements, their laughter ringing out like a chorus of mockery. They imitated his speech, exaggerated his gestures, and made fun of his appearance. The old man, though visibly pained by their ridicule, continued to walk, his head held high, refusing to let their cruelty affect him. But deep down, his heart ached, and he felt the sting of their words. After several minutes of relentless teasing, the old man stopped in his tracks. He took a deep breath, his hands trembling slightly as he reached into his pocket and pulled out his mobile phone. The teenagers paused, their laughter fading as they watched him dial a number. It was the number of his son, a man who had dedicated his life to serving in the VBR, an elite unit known as the Higher Intelligence Brigade. His son was a seasoned Special Forces soldier, respected and feared for his skills and bravery. "Hey son, I need a little help," the old man said, his voice steadied despite the turmoil within. He didn't go into detail, but the urgency in his tone was unmistakable. His son, sensing something was amiss, promised to take care of it and hung up. Within minutes, the atmosphere in the park shifted. The teenagers, still caught up in their laughter, suddenly felt a chill in the air. They exchanged confused glances as they noticed several dark-tinted cars pulling up nearby. The sound of doors slamming echoed ominously, and out stepped a group of imposing men in sharp suits, their expressions serious and their movements precise. "What is this, a prank?" one of the teenagers asked, his bravado faltering as he took in the scene. But before he could finish his sentence, the lead man approached them, his gaze icy and unwavering. "That old man you treated so badly is my father," he said, his voice low and menacing. "If you want to preserve your freedom, I suggest you apologize to him immediately." The teenagers' laughter evaporated, replaced by a heavy silence. Fear gripped their hearts as they realized the gravity of the situation. They had underestimated the old man, and now they were faced with the consequences of their actions. One by one, they stood up, their bravado replaced by genuine remorse. "Forgive us," one of them finally stammered, his voice barely above a whisper. "We didn't think it was that important." The others quickly followed suit, offering their apologies, their faces flushed with embarrassment. The old man stood to the side, watching the scene unfold with a calm demeanor. He felt a mix of emotions, sadness for the cruelty of youth, but also a sense of satisfaction that perhaps a lesson was being learned. As the teenagers took turns expressing their regret, he remained silent, allowing them to reflect on their actions. Once the apologies were made, the men in suits nodded in approval. They turned and walked back to their cars, leaving the teenagers standing in stunned silence. The weight of their actions hung heavily in the air, and they exchanged glances, realizing that their idea of fun had crossed a line. As the last car drove away, the old man turned to the teenagers, his voice steady and wise. "Don't forget that every person deserves respect, regardless of age," he said softly. With that, he walked away, leaving the teenagers to ponder his words. In the days that followed, the incident lingered in the minds of the teenagers. They found themselves reflecting on their behavior and the impact it had on others. The laughter that once filled their gatherings was replaced by a newfound sense of empathy. They began to understand that their actions had consequences, and that kindness and respect were far more valuable than fleeting amusement. As time passed, the teenagers sought out opportunities to give back to their community. They volunteered at local shelters, helped organize events for the elderly, and even started a campaign to promote kindness in their school. The old man's lesson had transformed them, and they were determined to make a positive difference. One day, while volunteering at a community center, they spotted the old man again. This time, they approached him with genuine smiles and open hearts. "We're really sorry for how we treated you," one of them said, stepping forward. "We've learned a lot since that day, and we want to make it right." The old man looked at them, his eyes softening as he recognized the sincerity in their voices. "It takes courage to admit when you're wrong," he replied, a hint of a smile breaking through his weathered face. "I appreciate your honesty." The teenagers spent the afternoon with him, listening to his stories and sharing their own experiences. They learned about his life, the challenges he had faced, and the wisdom he had gained over the years. In return, they shared their journey of growth and the changes they had made in their lives since that fateful day in the park. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the community center, the old man imparted one final piece of advice. "Remember, kindness is a choice we make every day. It's never too late to change and to treat others with the respect they deserve." From that day forward, the teenagers not only embraced the lesson they had learned but also became advocates for kindness in their town. They organized events to celebrate diversity, created programs to support the elderly, and even started a mentorship initiative for younger kids, teaching them the importance of empathy and respect. The old man became a cherished friend to the group, often joining them in their community efforts. Together, they made a lasting impact, transforming not only their own lives but also the lives of those around them. The once mischievous teenagers had grown into compassionate young adults, forever changed by a moment of reflection and the wisdom of an elderly man who had shown them the true meaning of respect. And so, the small town flourished with kindness, all thanks to a lesson learned in the park that day. The teenagers had discovered that every person, regardless of age or appearance, has a story worth hearing and a life worth respecting. They had turned their mischief into meaningful action, proving that even the smallest acts of kindness can create ripples of change in the world. As the seasons changed, the bond between the teenagers and the old man deepened. They would often meet at the park, where they first crossed paths, sharing stories and laughter. The old man, whose name was Mr. Thompson, became a mentor to the group, guiding them with his wisdom and life experiences. He taught them about resilience, the importance of community, and the value of listening to others. One day, while sitting on a bench under the shade of a large oak tree, Mr. Thompson shared a story from his youth. He spoke of a time when he had faced adversity and how the kindness of strangers had helped him through difficult moments. The teenagers listened intently, captivated by his tales of courage and compassion. Inspired by Mr. Thompson's stories, the group decided to organize a community event called Kindness Day. They envisioned a day filled with activities that would promote goodwill and bring people together. They planned games, food drives, and workshops where community members could share their skills and talents. As the day approached, the teenagers worked tirelessly to prepare. They reached out to local businesses for donations, enlisted volunteers, and spread the word through social media. The excitement in the town grew, and soon, everyone was talking about the upcoming event. On the day of the event, the park was transformed into a vibrant hub of activity. Colorful banners adorned the trees, and laughter filled the air as families gathered to participate in the festivities. The teenagers, with Mr. Thompson by their side, welcomed everyone with open arms, eager to share the spirit of kindness. Throughout the day, people of all ages came together to enjoy games, share meals, and participate in workshops. The teenagers facilitated activities that encouraged teamwork and cooperation, fostering connections among community members. Mr. Thompson led a storytelling session, captivating the audience with tales of his life and the lessons he had learned along the way. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the park, the teenagers gathered everyone for a closing ceremony. They expressed their gratitude to the community for their support and shared the impact that Mr. Thompson had made on their lives. They emphasized the importance of kindness and how it could create a ripple effect, inspiring others to pay it forward. Mr. Thompson, with tears of joy in his eyes, addressed the crowd. Today, we have shown that kindness knows no age, and that together, we can create a brighter future for our community. Let us carry this spirit of compassion in our hearts every day. The event was a resounding success, leaving a lasting impression on everyone who attended. The teenagers felt a sense of fulfillment, knowing they had made a difference in their community. They continued to organize similar events, each one growing larger and more impactful than the last. As the years went by, the teenagers grew into young adults, but their bond with Mr. Thompson remained strong. They often visited him, seeking his advice and sharing their own life experiences. He became a beloved figure in the town, known for his wisdom and kindness. One day, as they sat together reminiscing about their journey, Mr. Thompson revealed a secret he had kept for many years. He shared that he had once been a soldier, serving his country with honor. He spoke of the camaraderie he had experienced and the importance of looking out for one another, lessons that resonated deeply with the group. Inspired by his story, the teenagers decided to honor Mr. Thompson's legacy by establishing a scholarship fund for local students pursuing careers in public service and community leadership. They wanted to ensure that his values of kindness, respect, and service would continue to thrive in future generations. The scholarship fund became a symbol of hope and inspiration, encouraging young people to follow in Mr. Thompson's footsteps. Each year, they held a ceremony to award the scholarships, inviting Mr. Thompson to speak and share his wisdom with the recipients. As the years turned into decades, the impact of that fateful day in the park rippled through the town, creating a culture of kindness and respect. The teenagers, now adults with families of their own, passed down the lessons they had learned to their children, ensuring that the spirit of compassion would live on. And so, the small town flourished, forever changed by the actions of a group of teenagers who learned the true meaning of respect and kindness from an elderly man who had once been the target of their ridicule. The legacy of Mr. Thompson and the values he instilled in the community would continue to shine brightly, reminding everyone that every person, regardless of age, has the power to make a difference in the world. As the seasons changed, the town celebrated its annual Kindness Day, a tradition that had become a cornerstone of the community. Families gathered in the park, where the air was filled with laughter, music, and the delicious aroma of food from local vendors. The teenagers, now adults, took on leadership roles, organizing activities and ensuring that the spirit of kindness remained at the forefront of the event. Mr. Thompson, now in his golden years, was the guest of honor. He arrived with a warm smile, his presence radiating wisdom and love. The community had come to cherish him not just as a mentor but as a beloved grandfather figure to many. As he walked through the park, he was greeted with hugs and heartfelt greetings from those whose lives he had touched. This year, the theme of Kindness Day was paying it forward. The adults shared stories of how they had been inspired by Mr. Thompson and how they had, in turn, inspired others. The event featured a wall of kindness, where attendees could write down acts of kindness they had experienced or witnessed, creating a tapestry of goodwill that would be displayed in the town hall. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the festivities, the community gathered for the closing ceremony. The teenagers, now young leaders, took the stage to share their reflections. They spoke of the journey they had taken, from the day they had ridiculed Mr. Thompson to the lessons of respect and kindness that had transformed their lives. Today, we celebrate not just kindness but the power of change, one of them said, looking out at the crowd. We've learned that our actions matter, and that every small act of kindness can create a ripple effect that touches lives in ways we may never fully understand. Mr. Thompson took the stage, his heart swelling with pride as he looked at the young adults before him. "You have all grown into remarkable individuals," he said, his voice steady yet filled with emotion. "Remember, kindness is a choice we make every day. It's about seeing the humanity in each other and lifting one another up." As he spoke, the crowd listened intently, hanging on to his every word. He shared stories of his own life, of the challenges he had faced, and the kindness he had received from strangers during his darkest moments. His words resonated deeply, reminding everyone of the importance of compassion and understanding. After the ceremony, the community engaged in a new tradition, a kindness challenge. Each person was encouraged to perform an act of kindness in the coming weeks and share their experiences on social media, using a special hashtag created for the event. The goal was to inspire others to join in and spread kindness beyond the town's borders. As the night drew to a close, families gathered around bonfires, sharing stories and roasting marshmallows. The atmosphere was filled with warmth and camaraderie, a testament to the bonds that had been forged through kindness. Mr. Thompson sat with a group of children, telling them tales of his youth, his voice a soothing melody against the crackling fire. In the years that followed, Kindness Day continued to grow, attracting visitors from neighboring towns who came to witness the spirit of community and compassion. The scholarship fund established in Mr. Thompson's honor flourished, providing opportunities for countless students to pursue their dreams in public service and community leadership. As the town thrived, the legacy of kindness became woven into its very fabric. The teenagers who had once mocked an elderly man had transformed into compassionate leaders, dedicated to making the world a better place. They had learned that kindness was not just an act but a way of life, a philosophy that could change hearts and minds. And so, the small town became a beacon of hope, a place where respect and kindness reigned supreme. The lessons learned from Mr. Thompson echoed through the generations, reminding everyone that every person, regardless of age or circumstance, has the power to make a difference. The story of the old man and the teenagers became a cherished tale, passed down through the years, inspiring new generations to embrace kindness and to honor the humanity in one another.